Well, fucking well. Ladies and gentlemen, my lovely peoples, whoever watches this shit, thank you. I appreciate you. You are what keeps me going. I'm just kidding. I'd do this even if people didn't watch. Because I like doing it. Makes me feel good. You don't like that? Get out of here. I'm just kidding. Don't go. We're going to talk about some really interesting shit today. We're going to talk about social media. I looked up a little bit of history. I'm no expert on the history, but I'm going to start with the history, talk about what it does to us presently, and then I'll talk about what we can get to in the future. Because I like to look at the future of technology, social media, shit like that. And then I like to look at what's current. I don't really look at the history much. I realized that before I started this. It's pretty crazy, because usually I look at the history of everything. So, what I learned in my 5-minute Googling adventure was that social media started in 1997 with, it was an app called 6 Degrees. And I don't think it was anything like the social media we have now. I think it was just a place where you could share information online. Like, not sharing, like, memes and all that, obviously. I don't know what kind of information it was. I told you, I'm no expert. I'm just talking out of my ass. That's all I can do. All right? Thank you. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for listening. And then from there, LinkedIn. I don't know why. I keep trying to call it like Lincoln or Lincoln. I don't know. Fucking. It's LinkedIn. Started, I think, in 99, if I remember correctly. And then after that, it was MySpace. And then from MySpace, it jumped to all the shit we know today. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that bullshit, Snapchat. You already know what we use today. Back then, I think it was just a place for people to, like, talk. Not like we talk today, but, like, Facebook started as a place for college kids. I don't know what else. You had to, like, share your college ID and shit to get on it. But then Marky Zuckerberg opened it up to everybody. I don't know why. I don't know what you would need to share back then. I mean, obviously it evolved into this nowadays, so clearly they had something to say. Now, 40-year-old mom's got to talk about shit. My son's growing up. Look at my son. Oh my God. Who gives a fuck? I'm just kidding. But then we'll talk about what we got today. I don't think it was before I talk about present, I don't think it was as harmful as it is now, because we didn't have phones as readily available as we did then, or do now. They were still blocky and expensive and kind of shitty. I don't remember when the first iPhone was made, but I don't think it was very good phone-wise. I think you had to use it on a computer at first, which you ain't going to carry a computer around back then. There was no laptops, I don't think. Listen, I'm not an expert. I may be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong, all right? We'll get to that when we get to it. It's not the first time I'm wrong, and it's not going to be the last at all. But so I'd assume you use it on a computer, so it wasn't as harmful. Plus, you weren't sharing all this weird shit. Joe Rogan says that processed food is bad for your body, just like processed information is bad for your mind. And that's what social media is. It's processed information. Instead of reading a whole article, you either read the headline, you read maybe the first paragraph, you read what somebody else shares about it, and you're like, got it, good to go, I'm gonna believe it. And not to mention, so I guess I should get into present day shit. It kind of controls our mind. It's like, it's not good for us at all, because most people spend their entire day, I think I seen the other day, most people spend 7 to 8 hours on fucking social media a day. Which is a day? A fucking day? That's insane. That's a whole goddamn work day that you're spending on fucking social media. And it's not our fault, really, because what they did was they designed these algorithms and shit to addict us. They want us to fucking pick this shit up, want us to fucking stay in it as long as we can. They designed the notifications to get us in there and keep us there. There's a good documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. If you watch that, and that shit talks about it in great detail. And it does a lot better than just talking out of it. My ass, your ass. Whose ass am I talking out of? I don't know. Everybody's ass. I'm talking out of everybody's ass. But yeah, it's designed to addict us. And that's why we fucking, it's like a drug. Like I was saying in the previous episode, if there was a fucking drug, why is people always gotta sit next to me? Like I pull all the way away from everybody, and everybody always comes near me. I don't want to talk to you, sir. I'm trying to talk to myself like a fucking weirdo, thank you. But, where were we? We were talking about how it's designed to capture your attention like a drug. And like a drug, it hits your dopamine centers. No time before this time would we be able to pick up something and get dopamine hits from it every scroll, every post, every fucking like, it's not good to be getting all these dopamine hits. That's why it's good to take time away from your phone, and you feel it. You feel the difference when you take time away from your phone, because it feels like that. I guarantee that's why a lot of people are depressed, because there's clinical depression, and then there's just depression because you're upsetting your pleasure-pain balance, like I've said before. And if you're upsetting your pleasure-pain balance, that can be fixed. It just takes a lot of discipline, and you gotta get rid of these bad habits. And I guarantee a lot of people feel down all the time because they're hitting their dopamine constantly. And we give this shit to kids. I mean, I remember having a Facebook when I was like 11. Yeah, I asked for it, and I can't blame anybody for it. But I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Nobody knows what they're getting themselves into. They don't tell us the truth, really. But you get all these dopamine hits, and then you feel sad and anxious because you're reading shit, like articles about shit all the time. And you're like, oh, what's going to happen? There's something going on over here fucking 60 miles away from me. And then you look outside, and it's a fucking beautiful day like today. God damn, it's a beautiful day. Look at those clouds behind me. It is nice. But if you're reading your phone all day, you're going to be filled with a certain amount of anxiety because you've been reading about bombings going on in Ukraine and people getting blown up and chopped up in fucking Iraq and shit like that. You're not going to be happy if you keep reading all that shit that's not even nowhere near you. Because the fear sells. Fear is what attracts our attention. Just like negativity attracts our attention. And that's why our social media has turned into negative, Jesus Christ, talk. Negativity and fear-mongering. Because that's what gets clicks. We're like, oh, because our brains are still primitive, like I've said before. And if there was a tiger chasing you, you need to know that kind of shit. You need to figure your shit out. You need to get anxious. You need to fucking go somewhere. Fight or flight would kick in. You'd be gone. Or you'd fight that goddamn lion and tiger, whatever the hell it is. This person better not pull up next to me. Alright, we're good to go. I gotta stop getting distracted. Just leave these people alone. Quit getting angry at them. But our brain can't tell the difference between social media fear and a lion chasing us. So our fight or flight kicks in. We get anxious. We get depressed. We don't even know what's going on in our heads because our brains weren't designed for something like this. And not only does it make you anxious and depressed because of what it does to your brain, but you're constantly comparing yourself to other people, trying to get likes for it. You're taking pictures and selfies and taking pictures of your food and all this other bullshit. It's like, they got more money than me. I'm trying to think of an example. They got more money than me and they're the same age and now I'm sad. Well, yeah, maybe they did something different or maybe they just got lucky. But You can't compare yourself to people all the time, because that's how you end up fucking depressed and hating yourself. What you got to do is you got to compare yourself to who you were yesterday and who you are today. And if you have not improved, that's what you should worry about. Compare yourself to yourself, and then you fucking improve. Make yourself better. Do what you can to be a better person, better whatever you are. Son, daughter, fucking zim, zur, za, zing, zingon, gong, whatever gender you are, whatever person you are. Just try to be a better person. Who gives a fuck what you want to call yourself? Just be a good person. That's all that matters. But social media doesn't do all that. And then, not to mention, you're constantly comparing yourself, but a lot of people don't know about the algorithm that it pulls you in, because it feeds you what you click on. Even if you click on something one time, it's in your algorithm. And it's a problem, because you start to fall into an echo chamber, which is you have all so somebody said something like, you gotta see it to believe it. I don't remember who made that quote, but I'm sure people have heard it before. But it's really, you gotta believe it to see it now, because somebody parked next to me. I'm gonna get out and whoop their ass. But you gotta really believe it to see it, because you believe something, and then you confirm your own bias, and you confirm your own belief with whatever it is, social media, articles, all the videos, because you watch what you believe until proven different or proven wrong, or maybe you're proven right, but you still watch what you believe. And that's what an echo chamber is. You get caught in this certain form of thinking, and as you grow older, you don't want to stray away from that form of thinking, because you're comfortable. You're getting comfortable. You think you know what's going on. In reality, nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Everybody just pretends. We're like, oh, I know what's going on. I know how the world works. No, you don't. Nobody knows how this fucking world works. It's too goddamn complicated. Our brain tries to simplify everything down, like I said before. It makes us think we know what's going on, but nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Nobody. Your teacher, your dad, your mom. I mean, yeah, they have opinions and answers that help them get through things. You could always listen to it. I'm not telling you to completely disregard what people say, but you got to take everything everybody says with a grain of salt. Take what I say with a grain of salt. I hope you do, because I take everything everybody says with a grain of salt. You don't completely get rid of it, but you don't completely believe it. You just hold it in there and wait for more information to either prove or disprove what's going in your head, right? And I don't believe you truly forget anything. I think it's just still in there. It just gets locked away behind more shit, and it comes up when it's necessary. But back to what I was talking about, that echo chambers, you confirm your own bias. And the reason you get ads and shit for the shit you want to buy is because you click on that certain stuff, and then all the apps on your phone are linked together, because if you have a free app on your phone, chances are that they're not 100% free. Yeah, it's free to use monetarily wise, but they're extracting your data, your personal information, and they're selling it to advertising companies and who, God knows who else. I mean, maybe they're selling it to goddamn China. Shit. Who the fuck knows where they're selling that information? And that's why nothing's truly private anymore. I think in the next few, maybe decades, there's not going to be any more privacy anymore. I mean, kids younger than me, I already don't care about privacy. I mean, it's like, yeah, I want a bathroom door when I'm taking a shit, but if you're taking my information on my phone, I don't really feel any way towards that, because I grew up with this shit. And the kids under me are even fucking worse with that shit. They don't even know what privacy is, because they didn't grow up with privacy. But if you listen to people, probably your parents' generation or older folk that were before technology, they'll be like, listen, I like my privacy and I don't like you taking my information. But we all give it away freely. Nobody reads the terms of service. They hide a bunch of bullshit in the terms of service. TikTok is one of the worst because, well, I don't know necessarily, because this dude I listen to says that all apps do what TikTok does. TikTok just says it is doing it, and is a Chinese company, and that's why the government freaks out about it. But apps, TikTok for sure, they have access to devices that aren't the device you have the app on. They have access to damn near everything, your contacts, your photos, your everything. That's why when you're like, oh, talking to somebody, phones communicate to each other too, which is pretty fucking nuts. Like, they talk to each other. They're like, alright, this motherfucker likes this. Maybe this motherfucker will like that. When you're close in proximity, maybe even not close in proximity. It sounds like a bunch of fucking propaganda, conspiracy theory bullshit, but it's factual. They talk to each other. But when you're talking to your friend and you're like, oh, I've just seen these shoes the other day, they were cool. And then you fucking get that ad on your phone, but you never searched it. Well, there you go, because they're listening too. Our phones are like fucking spyware in themselves. They listen to almost everything we say. They watch everything we do. I mean, there's no privacy really anymore. That's why, I mean, social media, it has, but it's not all bad, obviously, because, yeah, it does all this weird shit, and it's going somewhere where it could lead to harm and not be good, but it's also been good to the point where we could talk to each other long distance. I could talk to somebody in fucking Bangladesh right now. I wouldn't know his language, but I can use Google to translate that shit. Like, it's destroying everything we know to be human. Like, we're not hunter-gatherers anymore. That's what a human is. We're already something else. We're some different species. We just didn't put a name on it because we call ourselves humans still. But humans were hunter-gatherers. And we're not a hunter-gatherer anymore. We go to the grocery store to get our food. That ain't hunting gathering. We fucking sit at home all day, watch TV. That ain't hunting and gathering. We are not really human anymore. But it's that social media further broke down that barrier to where we can communicate with people without talking. We could do a lot of shit. We could fucking, you know how social media works. Why am I explaining it to you? But you could talk over long distances. You could talk to anybody, anywhere. It's crazy. Like, we've never had something like this in the history of being human. You'd have to talk to them face to face or go somewhere, wherever they're at, Japan, China, wherever this person's at, you need to talk to. Send them a fucking letter. Who the fuck sends letters anymore? Nobody. We get bills in the mail. That's it. And maybe something you order from Amazon. And that's it. But another thing with social media now is everybody has a mild form of ADHD. Like I was talking about with depression, there's clinical depression and there's just depression. Same goes with ADHD, ADD, OCD. I don't know about OCD. I'm not going to fucking talk out of my ass that much. But I know for sure ADHD and ADD, everybody has a mild form of it now because the phone is stimulating us so much that we're getting dopamine hit after dopamine hit after dopamine hit. That makes our brain and our attention span like wither away. That's why nobody listens to all of this. I know nobody listens to all of it. But I'm going to keep talking in these long form ways because process information is not good for our brains. But everybody's got a mild form of ADHD, and that's why it's hard to sit down, read books, sit in class, and do stupid shit that bores you. But you can get rid of that because I was diagnosed with ADHD and put on pills for it. But I know how to focus if I force myself to do it. Like, it's hard, yes, but with discipline, and obviously I'm still working on this. I'm still a little boy, only 19 years old, but with discipline and working on your focus, and there's different tools in pharmacology to where it would help you focus. But everybody's got a mild form of ADHD, and it kind of fucks with our heads and fucks with our emotions and all this other shit. Social media is good for a lot of things, but I think the reason it's bad is because our brains and bodies were never designed for something like this. And I think that we need to transform into something else even further to integrate properly, because the phone's already like an extra limb. When it's gone, you get missing limb syndrome. It's like, oh, where's my phone? Where's my phone? You start smacking your fucking pockets and shit, looking for your phone. I do it even when I know my phone's in my pocket. I fucking smack my leg. I was like, all right, phone's good. We're good. We're all tweakers for this shit. Like I was saying before, it's like a drug. If I stood here and stared at my hand for fucking, let's say, 8 hours, like I was saying before, I just sit here, don't talk to anybody. I just sit here and look at my hand. If there was a drug that made me do that, that drug would be fucking on Schedule 1 real fast. Marijuana would be kicked out and be like, all right, this is way more dangerous. But because it's not a drug, technically, it's a technology. But I would beg to argue that substances are a technology as well. They're just natural or unnatural technologies, which this is an unnatural technology. But what's crazy about the phone is it's unnatural, but it's natural at the same time because it's just a bunch of metal and glass. It's a bunch of natural components put together in an unnatural way. And that's what makes it work correctly and shit. Which is pretty wild. And slaves build it, but that's another story for another day. I'll just toss it out there. But, what else do I want to talk about? Well, what's crazy about these social media companies is they can't really be touched. Like, companies have this weird deal with the government that they're not really a business, but they're like, I think they're more like I think it's more like you can't charge them for crime unless they do something real bad, because, and I'm talking out of my ass here, I'm just trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure you can't charge it as like an individual because it's such a big corporation, even though an individual owns it. Like Mark owns Facebook and Instagram, and Elon owns Twitter, and whoever the fuck owns Snapchat. Who owns Snapchat? I have no idea. You don't hear about that motherfucker. He probably just made Snapchat and dipped. That's what I do. But yeah, I think that's all I got to say about the present time. Take a break from your phone every once in a while. Wash your dick sometimes. Wash your ass, Don't sit on the phone all day long. Try to take breaks. You'll feel better. Go take a walk. That shit'll make you feel amazing. Walks are fucking awesome. I'm going to tell you that right now. But that's beyond the conversation here. So in the future, like I said, we're already integrated with technology. We don't go anywhere without our phones. We keep this shit in our pockets. It's like a missing limb. The next logical step is to put it inside our body, and we've already done that with some chips, and we put weird magnets and shit. Some people put a lot of weird shit in their body. Like you could put a USB type thing in your body to put codes in there to unlock doors and use it as a card and shit like that. You can do a lot of weird shit, but we already put shit in our body that's technology, and the next step is to put, it's like Neuralink that Elon's making. You take that fucking microchip, you shove that shit in your brain, and then without even fucking picking up your phone, all you got to do is think of something. How big's the Earth? How big's the Earth's diameter? And then that answer comes into your head. And that's the next step. And that's going to make us a completely different species as well. And that begs the question with AI and all this other shit, quantum computing and all this crazy shit that we're working on right now, what the fuck are we going to look like in the future? Because we already don't look like hunter-gatherers. We obviously don't look like the monkeys we descended from, even though we are still monkeys. It's wild. I don't know what the hell it's going to come to, because that's the next logical step. And Joe Rogan's got this crazy, I don't know if it's a theory or it's just him talking shit or what, but there's a wasp in here. Well, I have no idea where that thing went. So if I get stung during the middle of this podcast, it is what it is. That motherfucker just flew in, went in my face. I don't know if you're going to see it on here, but that motherfucker tried to assassinate me. He's trying to assassinate me like they assassinated JFK. But I'm not as influential as JFK, but that motherfucker tried to kill me, and now I'm tweaking because I don't know where the hell he went. Normally I'm not scared of bugs, but when they get real close, you gotta be a little worried here. But what was I don't even remember what I was talking about. That motherfucker made me lose my train of thought. I guess with Neuralink in our heads, we could, with that access to information, Elon said it himself, we'd be able to talk with no words. We'd be able to do a lot of crazy shit with Neuralink in our heads. I'm geeking now, I won't lie. But, I need to smoke another cigarette. That'll help me. Yeah. He said we'll be able to talk with no words. Who knows what other kind of crazy shit we could do. If we got self-driving vehicles, we can control them with our minds. You don't even have to touch it no more. It's going to be a crazy fucking world. And we're so far from those hunter-gatherers we came from. There's still hunter-gatherer tribes in the Amazon and shit like that. But what's crazy, if we don't destroy ourselves, I gotta look one more time. Do one more fucking quick look, because I'm geeking. But if we don't destroy ourselves, I think we're gonna be some crazy ass fucking. I watched a little bit of a podcast with Michio Kaku. I think that's his name. He's a physicist. Motherfucker smart as shit, but he was talking about how we're on our way to a type 1 civilization. Right now we're type 0. Type 1, you control all of your planet, weather, all the shit like that. All your resources. Type 2 is you harness the power of the sun. Type 3, you harness the power of black holes and shit, I think. And type 4, I think type 4 is you have the power to do anything, really. Which would be pretty fucking nuts, because just 100 years ago, in 1923, right, we were just making up fridges. We were just making up all this weird shit we just take for granted today, like fridges, microwaves, ovens. We were just making all that shit up. And now it's gotten pretty advanced. The problem is with technology is they don't fucking make them last anymore. They don't make them like the best product they could, because they're more in the market for profit. That's why I was saying earlier that phones are made by slaves, because they make them fucking either in China and wherever the fuck overseas they fucking make this shit for fucking pennies a day. And then you got the kids in the Congo mining for the fucking lithium and cobalt that we need to make these motherfuckers. It's wild. So that's why I was saying, I think I was about to talk about Graham Hancock's theory that we were once more advanced than we are today, and an asteroid came down and hit us, and we got knocked back to the Stone Age, which there's a lot of evidence supporting this now, which I believe it. Now, I can't believe it 100% because I wasn't there, but it's a pretty intriguing theory because it would explain how the pyramids and all these ancient structures around the world were built, because we still don't know how that shit was built today. And his theory, there's a show on Netflix called Ancient Apocalypse if you want to watch it instead of read it, but his books are dope. They're called I think I forgot last time too, and I don't remember what they're called. Something about an ancient fucking lost civilization. I'm gonna tell you that. Just let's search Graham Hancock. You'll know what I'm talking about. Chance calls him Graham Foot Penis, but that's besides the point. I don't remember what I was talking about. I was talking about technology. Oh yeah, we were 100 years ago. We were developing just the shit that we take for granted now. Cars were shit. Everything was shit. And now we live in this fucking advanced society for what we were 100 years ago. And just in 100 years, we've done a lot of work. Imagine if we lived for 1,000 or 1,000,000. Imagine what we could accomplish if we stop thinking about just profit and we start thinking about shit that actually matters, like family and the next generation and shit like that. Imagine what kind of good we could do for the planet, for the people, for the animals, for everything. And I think that we're not going to get off this planet if we keep going the way we're going, because we're just going to suck the life out of the other planets that we go to. Like, this planet's barely hanging on. It'll come back. We just got to die out first. And that it'll fucking nuke us back to the Stone Age again if we don't get the memo. But what makes Graham Hancock's theory hold water, I think, is that he talks about why is it such a huge leap to assume that there was an ancient civilization when, or an advanced civilization while hunter-gatherers were around, because we live like that today. We're in this advanced civilization, we drive cars, we go to work in buildings, we do all this shit, but there's still hunter-gatherer tribes on like North Sentinel Island, Amazon. There's tribes in a lot of places, and they're still living off the land and doing what humans actually were made to do. Yeah, it's a pretty wild theory. I like that theory. But I think that we're about to turn into something wild with technology. Because technology, it's kind of like, it's the only thing that gives us really the advantage. Because without a gun, without all this shit that we've made, we're useless. We've got no claws, we've got no teeth, we've got no sharp teeth, is what I mean by that. But we're bitch ass animals compared to like a lion. Oh, if we fucking tried to fight a lion, we'd get beat the fuck up. Even if we were to fight a monkey, their tendons and muscles are so much stronger and tighter than ours are. They could rip us a fucking part, literally, like rip our skin off and shit. So I think that we're about to get on to some crazy shit with this technology. Without our technology, we're pretty much useless. But then, like, also in the future is like quantum computing and stuff. And it's like it's about to make all the computers we use now obsolete, because it's going to be able to compute through the multiverse. And yeah. And by what Michio Kaku was talking about, he was saying that you'd be able to do biology without biology. You'd be able to do chemistry without chemistry, because if you're fucking with atoms on that level, you don't need chemicals to do chemistry. You don't need biology to do biology. You could just calculate anything, and it would be on that computer. And that's why all the major companies and shit now are racing to make that quantum computer, because they're going to probably make a fortune. Which I guarantee that's why they're doing it. They're not thinking about how well it's going to advance the society and shit like that. Which we really should have people in power thinking about that type of shit. Because if they're not thinking about advancing our society and humans as a whole, who gave them those fucking places? And why would they allow... I guess if you made it, like Bill Gates made Microsoft. But if you're not thinking about this type of shit, you don't deserve to be in that kind of power position, because power corrupts. Like, it doesn't matter how much power you have, it'll corrupt your mind. And that's why I think you have to distribute power amongst people you trust. It can't just be some random people, because then you'll get abused or feel the need to abuse people. But if you have a great group of friends and you trust them with everything, and you know that you could talk to them and disagree with them without arguing and, do that shit, I think you can distribute the power between all of them and yourself, rather than holding this high-powered position. because I feel like it fucks with your head. If you let it get in your head, you're gonna get fucked up, and it's not gonna be good for anybody, because that's how you get dictators. That's how you get power hungry officers. That's how you get all kinds of problems in society, is just power. Humans naturally gravitate towards power. That's why we gravitate towards social media too, because not only is it confirming our biases, but it's making us feel important, because it shows us everything we want to see. It's like personalizing this app for our use specifically, and what you want to see, what you want to fucking look at and shit like that. That's the same thing. I don't know why I said that, but it's gonna make for a crazy ass society when we start to get into these advanced technologies and stuff. Boston Dynamics is already working on robots, and they can run and jump and fucking do crazy shit. I heard of this dude today that has an exoskeleton. It's kind of bulky, but we're on the way to some crazy ass shit. And I don't know what the fuck we're gonna be, because even before the internet, nobody predicted that shit. Like, nobody was fucking going into computing and shit before it took off. They thought it was a waste of time. They thought it was bullshit. And I'm sure that's how a lot of the things that are going to be in the future are going to be now. We're going to call it bullshit. And then we look back on what happened, what we were doing back then. We were murdering people and beating women and beating black people and being racist and shit like that. What kind of stuff are we going to look back on at this time? I can name a few, like the zoos and SeaWorld and shit like that, and what we do to each other now, like with money and power and shit like that. I mean, slavery has never been bigger than this time right now. It's just not just black people anymore. Human trafficking, shit like that, organ trafficking. I'm scared. That's even scarier than the wasp, is people pulling up on me. So I don't like them hearing me talk. I want to just talk to my phone like a crazy, normal, crazy person. Is that too much to ask for? I am in a public area, so I can't talk too much shit, so they're just pulling up to do their thing. I ain't mad at them. I just get awkwarded out. I get scared. I just start to cry. I think we should develop better vehicles too, because cars are shit. What we have today, you gotta change oil, you gotta change tires. Yeah, it worked when it was made, but we haven't changed this shit in how long? It's the same goddamn thing. That's another problem with just having money run everything, is nothing really changes. We're just trying to maximize profit, make things cheaper so that they can get more money. It doesn't really do much innovation. We need to innovate. If we're gonna fucking catch up with AI when it gets fucking sentient, we're gonna have to innovate it and learn as fast as they do. And that's difficult with the human mind. That's why, yeah, you may say you're not gonna put a chip in your head now, but what if it comes to the point where it differentiates you? Like, you don't need a phone right now, but it definitely helps, and you could talk to people, and it makes a significant difference. That's how Neuralink's going to be, but it's going to be a whole lot different, because you're going to have access to the internet in your mind. They're going to make bionic eyes and shit. They're going to make a bunch of fucking crazy ass shit that we fucking have no idea about right now. And it's going to be a crazy world. We're going to live in some strange times. We're going to see a lot growing up. I'm going to be 20 in August. I'm not even 20 yet. And I've fucking seen a lot already. And we're about to see some crazier shit. Like CRISPR technology. That's gene editing, where you could pick out specific genes. It's going to be like fucking how you customize a character in a video game. That's going to be real life. You can customize yourself, make yourself look like Thor or the Hulk. If you're having a kid and you see genetic disabilities and shit, you're going to be able to pull that gene out and be like, yeah, no, we're taking that out, taking this out, put this in. It's going to be crazy shit. You can look like the Hulk. You can look like anything. I don't think we're going to have a specific structure of being human anymore. And we're going to have to create a new word because human just doesn't cut. Human doesn't even cut it now because we're not human. Fucking hunter-gatherers aren't going to the gym. They're working out in the goddamn woods like a normal fucking thing, normal animal would. They're running through the woods, climbing trees, doing shit that gets them strong naturally. And we got to go to the gym because we live in this society. I mean, it's an advanced society, but it's also an advanced society because there's a lot of problems still. Which obviously there's a lot of problems with hunter-gatherers. It's not the best life because you don't know where your next meal is coming from. You're worrying about food most of the time. That's all they have time to do is hunt and gather because they have to worry about food, shelter, and water. We don't have to do that no more. That's why we have the ability to sit down and talk and do advanced society like we are now. But we still got a lot of problems with our society, and I think we got to fix them before we can advance into whatever we're going to advance into. I think we got to embrace love, embrace people. We got to worry about creativity and developing innovative ideas and new society that doesn't hurt the planet and doesn't hurt the animals, doesn't hurt anybody. Because we're an advanced society, but we still get our phones from slave labor. And I think as an advanced society, we shouldn't have to do that no more. We should be able to pay these people a decent wage and give them health care and give them the proper equipment to do what they're doing, because you got babies on people's backs and you got all kinds of crazy shit going on in the Congo and in China. And it's wild that in this America, yeah, they're fucking us over a lot and doing a lot of crazy shit, but still one of the best countries to be in right now. And just in this society where we're pretending to be civil, on the other side of the world, there's a completely uncivilized society. Yeah, there's some civilized elites, but a lot of their people are living in squalor, eating dirt, and fucking living in huts, and it's crazy. We live in a crazy ass world. I think that's all I gotta talk about, though. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy your day. Hope you enjoy tomorrow. I hope you enjoy every day that is to come. You're beautiful. You're appreciated. You're loved.